Welcome back to Legends in the Making. This is one of my favorite topics, and I could not be more excited to get into this. I will tell you, I think this might trigger a few people. Um, and I think that's for a good reason because I think it's something for us to look at. When we think about this, everyone's selling athletes a dream, but no one's delivering the truth. And they know it. The athletes know it. That's why we're in a full-blown trust recession. We are in a place where I don't think anybody trusts anybody else, nor do they trust anything that is being sold to them. And ultimately, why is that? It's because we're all focused on our individual selves and what we can get out of it. We're never thinking about taking care of the other person and ensuring that they have the skills, tools, all the things necessary in order to be equipped to make the right decision. How often do we just objectively share all the information that we have and allow people to decide and to be completely detached from the outcome? Really, we have an opportunity to start to change that. Again, legends in the making. This show, the episodes that we have, they're not about hyping you up. They are about dismantling the lies and rebuilding the standard. And what we are going to talk about today is trust. Trust is an invisible foundation. And if you don't know how to establish that, everything collapses. And trust is developed through the consistency of who we are. It comes down to character, our integrity, how we show up. Do we show up the right way, even if it's unpopular? And are we disciplined in the way that we approach that? You can't lead somebody who doesn't trust you. So if you're a coach and you're like, why don't these players trust me? Think about, are you creating a foundation where they know that they can count on you, that you're honest, that you're being straightforward, you're not placating them, you're not telling them that what they want to hear, and that you actually demonstrate you care by showing up for them if they have goals and plans, and maybe they're not there, but you're willing to give them the guidance in order to get there. And then we also have athletes that don't trust the very people around them who are supposed to guide them. Depending on what level you're at and what's going on, do you have a foundation of trust with your agent, with your financial advisor, all of those things? And how do you vet and understand who is meant to work with you and to be worked with? I think that is so important and so often missed versus like what people are selling you. One of the greatest arts and tools and skills that we come here as human beings to acquire is the skill called discernment. Being able to pick up on that vibe of that other person and know like, hey, I just feel like there's something off with them. Or I don't feel like this is trustworthy. I don't trust them. Or this sounds too good to be true. All those feelings are valid. And yet we kind of have this high pressure sales environment that we're in. And it's like, it's so important that we learn how to discern. We learn how to slow down. We learn how to take time. If people are high pressure and overly like insane of trying to get you to do something and it doesn't feel right to you, that should give you pause to go, these people aren't right for me. Because the people that are right for you are going to support your decisions. They're going to guide you, and they're going to ensure that you have all the tools, skills, and information you needed in order to show up the way that you want to show up. So when I think about, why is there such a lack of foundation of trust? Like when we think about coaches, you see a lot of turnover in college athletic coaching staff. So the athletes never see consistency. They see inconsistency. It's like, okay, this person's gone. Okay, now what do? We have inconsistencies within the structure of how it's all set up now. Okay, my coach got fired or my coach is leaving. Well, now I want to leave. Now I want to go shop around. Like, think about all that upheaval. And it's like, how do you build trust in that? And how do we become more resilient in the face of adversity? I think that's the bigger problem, is everybody's chasing something that's easier when the reality is whatever problems, whatever thing is going on is only going to follow you from one spot to the next, because you're the problem. It's you. It's attached to you. It's not everybody else. It's not the people around you. And that ultimately is victim mindset. Your opportunity is to be more discerning in the front end and to slow the decision making down and not be caught up in people's flashiness or empty promises. Think about, like, if you're a pro athlete, and most of them, 78% are broke or bankrupt within 3 years. So that would tell me that you're not getting good financial advice. Or if you're getting good financial advice, because the reverse could be true, why aren't you following what they're doing? There's such an opportunity to really do a gut check right here and go, how do I start to show up differently? What would it look like for me to be different? We survey parents all the time, and they feel unequipped to raise athletes in the NIL era and the mental health epidemic that I think we're in, because we haven't taught resiliency. We're not teaching the skills of who are you, how do you show up, and how do you stay disciplined in that. We very much are living in a victim society, and we want to overdiagnose, we want to overlabel, because if we can label something and go, oh, well, I do this because I'm this, I have PTSD from my parents' divorce. So that gives me kind of the excuse as to why I show up and act the way that I currently do. No, we need to start taking radical ownership, have radical acceptance over ourselves and the way that we're showing up. We also need to step into the truth of who we are. We get live examples in the work that we do where coaches tell, oh yeah, here, you just need to do this. And then they're still sitting on the bench, or they're telling them something and something else is happening. So it's like the breakdown of trust is there, because it's like you're telling them one thing. Either you both need to be checking in on how that's progressing. Okay, am I getting faster? Am I getting stronger? Am I running my routes better? Whatever that might be, whatever the feedback is, in order to get out on the field, are you checking in? Not, I told them once to do X, Y, and Z. Good luck. No, your job as a coach, especially with these young athletes, is to nurture and check in, to notice what they're doing, to ensure that they have the tools necessary to be successful. And so often what I see in sports is the coach's ego gets caught up in winning, the win-loss, where you're at in the region, the division, you name it, versus like, how am I taking care of the athletes that have been put into my stead, that I've been charged with developing? That's a role that you've been given. And would your success rate be greater if you could look and go, I made 25, 52 young men, women, you name it, better human beings after this 3-month season, 6-week, whatever that is? Do you look at yourself and go, I made better people as a result of that? Versus, well, we won the division, we won the state championship, things that feed my ego, versus did I bring the entire team along, and is athlete A equally as equipped, and you saw the same amount of progress in athlete Z? And you could sit down and go through your roster and go, Johnny got better at X, Y, and Z. Here's his stats. Bobby, he got X, Y, and Z. He got better at these stats. You're going to have a wide range of players, but your ability to impact all of these kids' lives is your responsibility. And you're either building them up or you're creating scenarios that are not advantageous for their growth because you're focused on you. And then you watch parents, that are so overwhelmed and inundated and contending with so many things to have to manage. Social media, YouTube, video games. What are they accessing on a phone? Their friends, schoolwork, homework, sports, and we've put all this on them, and then they just watch their kids burn out. They're investing in coaches, they're investing in this. But again, there is no systematic character development to help them get to where they want to be. We are failing our kids with our current educational system. We are not setting these young men and women up in order to succeed in life. And we also have a lot of opportunity to help break out of all those things that we may or may not perceive as positive or negative to really change the trajectory of these kids' lives. How do you balance social media for whatever the purpose is, but understand that your identity, what you see, all of that isn't real. It's not tied to that. So we basically have broken promises, which means there's broken trust. And what's trust is lost, everybody armors up. Athletes are armored up, they're defensive, they stop listening, they stop believing. So we have a huge opportunity to go back to the foundation of, am I showing up in character, integrity, and discipline? Why did I take this coaching job? Why did I become a parent? What is my goal at the end of my time as a coach with these young athletes? As a parent, who do you want to raise? What does that look like? Yeah, your role never quite ends, but there is such an opportunity for you to be able to help guide your kids in a different way by focusing more foundationally what they need in order to be successful. And I will tell you, we have more and more talented kids. But what I see is we have a trust problem that keeps getting eroded, and that just is not going to help them. And so when I think about what's the root cause of this, it's not NIL or social media that's breaking these athletes. It's leadership without integrity. It's what they're seeing, whether that's from us as parents, us as coaches. Are we living what we're asking them to do? Pardon me. And when trust collapses, and when character's missing from the top, whether that's in the home, whether that's in the locker room, how do you expect them to want to keep showing up for you? And we need to get to a place where we don't have to overpromise. Let your yes be yes and your no be no. You don't need to overpromise. You don't need to manipulate. You need to lead with truth. And when you lead with truth, people trust you because if you're being honest is the most foundational thing. If you can't tell somebody the truth, that says something about you. And worrying about how they're going to take it isn't the issue. They would take it well if the foundation of trust of like what this person says is true. You wouldn't even have a bad reaction because you'd be like, oh, yeah, I can see that. Thank you for so much for that with me. Here's my plan of what I think I can do to work on that. What do you have as advice? And can we check in next week, 30 days, whatever you agree upon, if I'm making progress? But let yes be yes and your no be no. We don't need to manipulate people. We need to lead people in truth. And trying to please anybody else other than standing in who we are is a problem. And I will tell you, getting hyped up, getting motivated, that doesn't solve the problem. We need to be building a foundation of honesty and trust. And when we are of people of high character and integrity, that just comes naturally. Hey, this is where I see you at. Here's what I think you could do to be better. And I'm going to check in with you all along the way to hold you accountable to that because you said you wanted to do this. I'm in it with you. We're being realistic right now and giving honest feedback. Then you have to be willing to check in. You have to be willing to go, yes, I see your improvements. Hey, I see you working hard. Here are some other areas. Hey, I gave you that feedback. I haven't seen you stay after practice once. You know, that shows that you're invested and you care, not like, oh, I told them too bad. I guess they don't want it bad enough. No. Hey, I said I wanted to help you. Here's how I said I wanted to help you. And I'm holding you accountable to that. That's a great coach. And we are failing our next generation with our lack of honesty. And it's pervasive everywhere. But it starts with us. So if you want to live in a truthful society, start telling the truth. Let your yes be yes and your no be no. And I think that that's where we have such an opportunity. And I will tell you, there are systems built out there that will tell you the truth and help you live in that truth. You know, at Blueprint to Bluechip, we are focused on building the character, the foundation of who you are, holding you accountable every day to saying, I committed to this. Am I doing this? If I'm not, why not? You know, we can all have aspirational goals, but who's helping us get to them? You know, yeah, I could search up how to become the fastest wide receiver ever. What are the workouts? Yeah, but who's holding you accountable? Why are you doing that? What does becoming the fastest wide receiver mean to your purpose on this earth? How do you then serve other people by becoming the fastest? You know, it's daily discipline. It's resetting the family framework. You know, what's your family culture? How do you guys show up? You can't coach your kids on to do something and you yourself not doing it. You know, am I role modeling what I expect? And that's the beauty of the work that we do is we bring in the whole family. We're not just focused on the athlete so that they see consistency in the home. I wake up at 5, I meditate from 5 to 5:05. I take a shower, I eat healthy foods, I do this. How am I living in my integrity throughout the day? Or do you then, you as a parent can follow along and do the same thing with them? Do you check in with them? Do you hold each other accountable? Because we are human. We're going to fall down. We're not going to have everything ticked and tied in every single moment. But do we have a structure to hold people accountable? And the same goes for the team consulting that we do is we want to help coaches build the most phenomenal cultures and foundations of disciplined, high character, and high integrity kids. and to make sure that you're living the same. And how do you coach them? How do you lead them? We are not here to sell you a dream. We are here to deliver a standard and to help you get in your truth so that you can be the best version of yourself and serve others. This is the work that needs to be done. This is the work that needs to be done. So if you want to build trust as your foundation, if you want to have something that thrives, whether that's you as an athlete, whether that's you as a family system, whether that's you as a team, we have the systems, tools, and processes in order for you to deliver high integrity, high character, and high disciplined individuals that result in phenomenal results, not just in the moment, but for life. So if you want to be a part of what we're doing at Blueprint to Bluechip, DM me the word trust, visit our website, blueprinttobluechip.com. Don't wait for another promise that gets broken. Build the system that keeps its word. And we're going to help you the system that keeps your word. This isn't motivation. This is a movement. You're listening to Legends in the Making.